All right, man. I ain't did one of these in a hot minute, so I'm not sure how long we'll be on, but I think we got a really good game. Sunday versus Cleveland. Had some time to talk about it. Kind of a little rivalry between the um Cleveland Browns rush defense. Run defense and the Detroit Lions run game. So yeah, it's kind of a little rivalry going on there, man. So um but yeah, I think it's a good game. I think the spread is 9.5. And we looked that up last time I looked. Um, I think it'll be competitive, honestly. Only thing that kind of make this game a little less dangerous is that the Lions at Ford Field. We've seen what they did to the Packers. It didn't surprise me at all. Um, Despite the Packers looking good, their offense has just been a tick behind. In my humble opinion. Uh, Even when they played us, that game should have been out of reach by half. Um, yeah, that game should have been out of reach by half. So, but they offense, just like a lot of offenses around the National Football League, the first month is going to be some bad tape. A lot of the teams you see offensively really good. Right now, you probably just they've been together, had a quarterback, or even some of them you see having their problems like Baltimore, still offensively, it looks good, but they still having their problems. Green Bay, the offense didn't even look good when they beat us. It just, defensively, they came prepared. And for us, they just caught us lacking. It was a lot of confusion. They did a lot of stunts and a lot of things they did last year had people saying they should go get Kevin Seifert back, and why did they let him go? At some point, you have to. I think what people don't understand, you have to have a youth movement. You have to have a youth movement. So, at some point, you don't want to wait to the last minute. Even when they took Tate Ratledge, they didn't wait to the last minute to replace Frank Ragnow. You know what I'm saying? So that's what people don't understand. They didn't wait to the last minute. What they did was they knew, guess what? We got Graham Glasgow who played center here before. We're perfectly fine with him playing center. We'll draft this kid, this guard, and we're going to let him do what Frank Ragnow did. I know a lot of people don't remember, and make sure y'all thumbs up the video. They don't remember Frank Ragnow. He started off his first season as a guard. People forget that. Then the next year he transitioned to center. And, I want to say this before we kind of really dig into this. Tate Ratledge played phenomenal on Saturday. On Monday, excuse me. He was phenomenal. I exclusively watched Tate Ratledge, in that game, and he was moving mountains. But this is a real test. Malik Collins, Myles Garrett, Dale Grandpitt, what's his name? Dale Grandpitt, or whatever his name is in the run game. So, I'm not a huge fan of, amping up people, but guess what? You want to be people at their best. I've still not seen the clip of John Morton saying that. I've still not seen a clip of him saying it, but everybody is responding to it. Everybody's responding to it. So, but 1 minute. But, at the end of the day, you wonder what Cleveland is doing as far as are they doing what's best for their franchise? That's a great question. Is Cleveland doing what's best for them by, putting Joe Flacco out there? And the thing about it is you see Jackson Dart and Russell Wilson thing and all that. The thing about it is this. Once you put the rookie in, similar to what you're seeing going on in Atlanta, once you put that rookie in, you don't want to go back to the veteran. Then for the most part, it seems like it's a wrap. It seems like it's a wrap when you put that rookie in. So when you put those rookies in, put them in, hey, really, you can't look back. Can't look back. So, they're trying to get the most out of Flacco at this point in Flacco's career. he's best off coming in as a change of pace, as a change of pace quarterback. Like, somebody get injured or somebody struggling, you put him in there. I know people talking about Deshaun Watson. It's over with. I seen him talk about he giving his life over to God, but you at an NBA YoungBoy concert. I mean, it's over with. What he did was he sold, he didn't want to go. All right, I edited that out. We 8 minute mark. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, man. I'm sorry, y'all. Can't believe we muted. We good now. I checked before I started. I must have hit this button, man. My apologies, man. Damn, the first 8 minutes. I could have been longer. All right. Oh man, I hate repeating myself, but hey, look here. If I can remember what I said, I said. So we playing Cleveland this week. I gotta edit that out. So y'all probably won't see this until a couple hours. So we played Cleveland this week. Kind of got a little bit about Cleveland and their background and their quarterbacks. Good team. I think the spread is 9.5. We'll double check that. It was 9.5 when I looked at it. I think that's a lot for NFL game. Got to remember the Lions coming off a short week. But there's been some challenges out there. I still haven't seen John Morton say this word for word, but there's been a lot of challenges out there. A challenge out there, and he says the Cleveland defensive front haven't seen a run game like the Lions, and I don't really like motivating, the number one or number two defense overall, I think it is, behind Green Bay. So basically, this is a game for the Lions to basically really confirm to everybody that the offense is the offense. It wasn't Chicago, it wasn't Baltimore, it was, it was them. It was them. So this is the time where they got to prove to the world that the offense. Now, do they got to drop a 50 ball? No. They don't have to drop a 50 ball, but they can't go in there and drop I don't think they can go in there and drop I don't think they can go in there and drop 10 or 13 like Green Bay. And then Green Bay defense, they were on the road. But I was saying, before I got muted, that Green Bay's offense, it hadn't looked good all year. Even when they beat us, they should have been up. They should have been up way more than what they were when they played us. So yeah, they should have been up a lot more points than when they played us, and they wasn't. So at the end of the day, I think Green Bay, offense is just like most offenses in the National Football League. I I think at some point they will, at some point they will figure it out. But a lot of offenses is getting off to a slow start. Um, you know, uh, um, when you look at it, you look at even when you look at Baltimore, they putting up great points, and this is why statistics, you gotta take statistics for what they are for a grain of salt. Even though they putting up a lot of points, they turning the ball over and doing dumb shit to lose football games or make it hard for them to win football games. So even when we start having those conversations about them, it's just to the point where they offense ain't really clicking like that. I think Buffalo, kind of their offense really ain't click. They putting points up, but you watch the Miami game, versus that defense, they should have put up more points. So yeah, I mean, I want to see them put up. I want to see Green Bay when they offense catch up. It's not gonna catch up to the defense, but at some point it will catch up. I think they will get Christian Watson back. I think they will do some things right. But this is really a test for the Lions. And do I feel 100%, confident in them in this game? No. Because it's still what it's the quarter mark. Defenses come around quicker. The one thing they got going for them is they have a lot of weaponry. They have a lot of weaponry when you start talking about them, from trick plays to receivers to St. Brown moving around, Tesla to JMO. I mean, you got to defend every blade of grass. And I think when you think about the Chicago game a little bit, the funny thing about the Chicago game was they found a way. They really came out and faked Chicago with the run game. You know what I'm saying? They faked Chicago out with that run game. They came out, it seemed like the majority of the plays offensively that came out, it was hard play action. Yeah, it was hard play action. So and Chicago was trying to, trying to, stop the run, but Detroit was doing hard play action and they was catching them flowing to the run game and they was throwing it right behind them. So yeah, to me, I think you might see something similar versus Cleveland. I think you may see Cleveland sit there and they may commit to the run game. Now I don't think they're gonna drop safeties or nothing like that. I think they're gonna say, you know what, our front seven can stop the run game. And I think what you're gonna see is the Lions do a lot of hard play action, get those safeties in the corners biting up because they got to tackle to stop the Lions run game. And then I think you're going to start to see the Lions kind of just pick them apart in the passing game. I think that the game plan is going to be similar to, to what they did versus Chicago, and obviously two different defenses. But I just think you really want to get that. You really want them to kind of be on their toes or their heels about the run game. So I think what you'll see the Lions do is really have them flowing, committing to stop the ball up front with their seven. And I think they're gonna get their seven to commit to the run game and get them biting to the run. And I think you may see them do a lot of things in the extension of the passing game. You know what I'm saying? I think you might see them do short passes and wheel routes and option routes. And I think they're gonna really attack that short area of the field and the extension of the run plays. And that's what I think you're gonna see in my opinion. I could be wrong, but I think Cleveland is already amped up to stop the Lions run, and I think eventually what you will see is them flow. They could prepare to commit to stop the run. You're going to see the Lions really attack them. Attack them outside the hashes as far as some of those throws to Montgomery, some of those throws to St. Brown short, to Jahmyr Gibbs short. I think that's what you pretty much going to see, and kind of seeing the Baltimore game, which Baltimore put up 41 on them. And that's probably more about what the offense didn't do in this particular game. Let me see if we can zoom out a little bit. Yeah, we zoomed in too much. So Lamar had 4 TDs in this game, and a lot of those 4 TDs they came from random guys. I think Tylan Wallace out of Oklahoma State caught one. Dontez Walker, he caught 2. That's the one they caught the deep ball on Terrion Arnold, and then Tylan Wallace, like I said, Oklahoma State caught 1. And for the most part, they shut down their run game. I mean, Derrick Henry had 11 carries on 23 yards. Flacco turned the ball over 1 time. Judikins, he had a good game with 61 yards on 10 carries. They did lose a fumble, so Flacco turned the ball over 2 times in this particular game. He turned the ball over 2 times. They sacked Lamar 3 times in this game. So I think Garrett had 1.5. Devin Bush from Michigan had 1, and you had Cam Thomas have half a sack, and then you had the team had that 3 overall. So so they did shut down the run game of Baltimore. Shutting down Lamar and easy, but throughout the air, and then the 2 extra opportunities they gave them. I mean, it was close at the half. It was 10-3 at the half, and then the second half, Baltimore, that fourth quarter, that's what set them apart. So, yeah, I think it's gonna be an interesting game. And they was on the road at Baltimore. And then last week they played Green Bay on Sunday. And it seemed like Green Bay, they defense had control. Even though the offense didn't put up many points, Love did throw a touchdown to John Fitzpatrick, but they shut down Josh Jacobs. We really shut down Josh Jacobs too, to be honest. Quishon Judikins had 94 yards rushing versus that defensive front for 1 TD. His long was 38. Flacco, I mean, he didn't make throws until the end, but for the most part, Love turned the ball over. Josh Jacobs fumbled, but he didn't lose it. So Cleveland had 1 turnover by Joe Flacco. So long story short, the Lions can't afford to turn the football over. I don't think they can afford to turn the football over versus this stingy defense. So I think they need to run the football, but I think early on you're going to see the Ben Johnson approach. And I think the Ben Johnson approach is what works best for the Detroit Lions. That's running the ball, throwing the ball to open up the run. I think that's what you're going to see. And there was a reason why Ben Johnson did that. There was a reason why Ben Johnson threw the ball to open up the run. And I think, Johnny Morton, he ended up figuring that out in game 2, because in Chicago, they used to play action, to run the ball. Right now, the spread is up to 10.5 points. Anytime you get around 10, in my opinion, in a professional football game, I don't like it. And I get it, the Lions at the Dome, they at the crib and all of that. But anytime you start getting around the 10 ball for a spread in professional football, I don't like it. I don't like it. That's just my opinion on it. But to be honest with you, the way Cleveland offense ain't moving the ball, but we've seen lesser quarterbacks, usually mobile quarterbacks, move the ball on the Lions. So the Lions, the number one thing defensively they got to do, they got to shut down the run. They can't let Judikins get Nathan. And when they get opportunities like they got last week, where the ball hit them in their hands and they got opportunities to get picks and fumble recoveries, they got to capitalize on those. You got to make Cleveland offense pay for everything that they do. You must make Cleveland offense pay for every mistake they make. You can't let them off. That defense, you can't turn the ball over. That's one offensively. You can't turn the ball over. And you know what I'm saying? And when you get opportunities to get turnovers, man, capitalize on them. That should be their number one thing going into this game. Capitalize on it. As much as people say this is an easy look, Cleveland is dangerous. All it takes is 1 or 2 big plays for Cleveland. If they can score 14 points, I mean, you may be in for a long night. Don't sound like a lot. It don't sound like a lot at all. But if you can give 14 points if Cleveland can put up 14 points, they got a chance, especially 17 points. They got a chance. So you can't afford to turn the ball over. You can't afford to play with it. You know what you got to do. You got to throw the ball to open up the run. So they will be prepared. Jim Short's coming back, ex-Detroit Lions head coach. Remember, I think when he beat us one time as the Browns defensive coordinator, and remember, they carried him off the field. So we ain't forget that. I don't care. I still ain't forget that. They carried him off the field. So, yeah, let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on. So I think it's a good game. It's be a good game to go to. On the schedule, it may not have been a sexy game unless Shador Sanders is playing. But it's a good. You ain't gonna see a high scoring game. You're not going. I don't think they're gonna do what they did to Baltimore. What Baltimore did to them. I think you're gonna see a very competitive game. I think it'll be a 7-8 point game. I think it could be even closer to that. You got to think about the emotional roller coaster the Lions coming off of a short week with a physical Baltimore football. A physical Baltimore football team. You play with a physical team. Then you go to Cleveland. You at home versus Cleveland versus another physical football team. I think I can very much well see this game being competitive. But eventually the thing about Baltimore's defense is that if the offense don't get a jolt of energy around, I would say around the mid-season, you're going to start to see them taper off. They can't sustain this all season without offensive help. The 3-and-outs, the turnovers, that's going to wear them out. That's going to wear them out. So right now, Green Bay, Baltimore, who else have they played this season already? Green Bay, Baltimore. I feel like they played somebody else. Hold on. I know they played somebody else. Oh, the Bengals. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at that, like, they after a while, this defense is gonna wear down. Green Bay and Detroit just caught Baltimore's in the back, but 30-10. I don't think it's gonna be that wide at all. It won't be 30-10. I guarantee you, it won't be 30-10. It won't be 30-10. I guarantee they won't win by 20 points. I think this is gonna be a close, competitive game, and I think the Lions kind of put some separation in the fourth to win by like 8 points. It won't be a close game. One thing about it, you got to ask yourself, Green Bay gonna do it. Cleveland gonna do what Green Bay did up front with all the stunts. Are they prepared up front? This is the real test for the offensive line. This is the real test for the offensive line. Even if y'all don't know it. So if the offensive line really got it together for the Detroit Lions, if they really got together for the Detroit Lions, you're going to see it this game. If it's still chinks in that armor, you're going to see it in this game. It's a fact. You're going to see it in this game. This is a fact. If they really fix their miscommunications and understand they blocking assignments and they really fixed it, I think you're going to see it this game. I think you're going to see it this game. If not, Myles Garrett is probably the best edge rusher in football. Probably second best defensive player to Jalen Carter, in my opinion. That's my opinion. So you got him, Malik Collins. But I mean, we'll see. But on that turf, the Lions a different animal. I don't think they're not going to score 30 points on Cleveland. If they do, the defense is going to score 2 or put them in positions on short field. Yep. Don't turn the ball over. Strip sacks, all that shit, drop balls. They can't afford to do it. Can't afford to do it. So Tyrion has been demoted. It seems like Amik Roberts going to play on the outside, so I don't know what's going to happen with the nickel. So you're going to see more Amik. And the difference about Amik last week, he had the worst defensive rating. Yeah, he had the worst defensive rating. Yeah, he had the worst defensive Pro Football Focus rating last week. He was in the 30s. But that's playing nickel, though, so respectfully.
Great organization. So moment, 2-1 step on the field, man, just expect a lot of energy, a lot of passion, and even when I, even if and when I make a play, it's gonna get even worse, So just expect a lot of swagger. That's something that I bring. I feel like I bring it to the team, a lot of swagger and a very confident individual. And great.
My bad. So yeah, that was Amik Roberts. And the thing about it is Terrion Arnold, not a good look for him, not a good look for that draft class. Um, in his rock straw, ain't been able to see the field. Terrion struggling here and there with mental lap plays, and that's becoming part of attached to his name. You think about it, those two corners did what they were supposed to do, and they would have fall in, and Carlton Davis will go away. TA and Rackstraw play. You get one more year from Amik Roberts on the last year of his deal. You could take that money you paid, DJ Reed, who's been phenomenal. You could take that money, and you can put it you could have put it towards the edge rush or somewhere else or saved it. So yeah, but right now that was the plan. It seemed like the two corners, and then but then people point to Quinyon Mitchell, which I liked him better than Terrion. But the thing about Quinyon Mitchell, I believe he's playing with the best defensive player in football in Jalen Carter. So that's what I believe. So you playing with a defense like Philadelphia, and they lost some pieces, some pass rushers here and there, but they still got some dogs up front, and him and Cooper DeJean don't have to cover as long. But for Terrion, we'll see, and Rackstar we'll see. But ultimately, that was the plan. Now the Terrion is getting benched, and we'll see. You'll see. So, honestly, that's pretty much. I didn't really hear people. I heard people saying it, but I didn't think people really wanted him to get benched in that that quickly. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, charge it to the game. I didn't think people wanted to see him get benched that bad, but but uh, but yeah, man, I didn't think it was gonna happen that quick. But the couple plays he gave up, really, it got the it took the Green Bay game out of touch. That pick play he got caught on, that made that game, that really would boasted that game open. But yeah, that's what really would busted that particular game wide open, man. So I think people forgot that. But here we go. Let's get into this controversy real quick with John Morton.
I mean, we faced some good running offenses. I mean, Green Bay was running the ball really well, so was Baltimore. Cincinnati is more of a passing offense, so um, it's one of the major things we have to do is stop the run. Two different running backs. You got to protect your edges. You got to defend all 53 and third, particularly with Gibbs. And then there's a lot of passes that are just extension of the run game, a lot of screen game, a lot of quicks. Even the checkdowns are sort of an extension of the run game. So our ability to play run defense, our ability to tackle in the open field, that's a major part of this game plan going forward.
So that was Jim Schwartz. For those who don't know, he used to be the Detroit Lions head coach. Most infamously had to run in with Jim Harbaugh when he was the San Francisco 49ers head coach. So, like I said before, John Morton put a challenge out there. Seemed like they taking it personal to stop the run, and and that's what they've been doing. They've been stopping the run all season. They've been stopping the run all season so far. So, it'll be a good challenge. I feel like the Lions running game ain't where it should be at, even after Monday night. In my humble opinion, I feel like the running game has a lot more room to grow. I still think, what's so funny is it seemed like they pass protecting. It seemed like they pass protecting a lot better, than they run blocking. And usually the run blocking comes together a little bit quicker. So you already know he playing his former team, and the emphasis is going to be on them stopping the run, not letting them get nothing. But the thing about it is, with the Detroit Lions, it just take one play. We've seen with David Montgomery, it take one play. We see with Jahmyr Gibbs, it takes one play. J-Mo, one play. So to be honest with you, it's going to be very, very interesting. So Cleveland Browns are going to they're taking this challenge, and they're not taking it lightly.
He's entitled to his opinion. He hasn't seen a defensive, front like ours, and he's entitled to say what he wants, and we have the privilege to see, who's right, and I think it'll be a battle of ideologies, and I think our DC also has some things to say, and we have to be the ones to put it into action, and so we have to meet and see who's right.
So obviously that's one of the best football players in football. For the most part, hey, he right. It's gonna be a hat on the hat. It's gonna be physicality on physicality on physicality. And it should be an interesting game. So this has really been a talk. John Morton said they hadn't seen a run game like the Lions, and them responding. Other than that, it ain't really much to talk about, for this game. Cleveland defense, what they did last week to Green Bay, that's been the talk. Detroit, what they did to Baltimore, it ain't really been much like talk. Two teams coming off two big wins, people ain't really caring. They're more focused on the wins that these two teams had last week, more so of this game. And then rightfully so, when you roll through the schedule, we had a really good game Thursday with Arizona Seattle. I didn't watch it, a little bit of it, but didn't watch it to the end. The games that you have: Minnesota at Pittsburgh, the Chargers at the Giants. Jackson starts first start. Usually when West Coast teams come east, it don't go well. Tennessee at Houston, both 0-3. Washington, Jaden Daniels, he's not starting this week again. He's out. Somebody else out over there too. Versus Atlanta, Michael Penix Jr. is on the hot seat already. New Orleans, hold on real quick. You have New Orleans at Buffalo. You have Philly at Tampa. That might be the game of the week on paper. Carolina at New England. That might be another good one. Jacksonville at San Francisco. That's a good one. And Nick Bosa went down in the 4:00 games now. Indianapolis at the Chargers. Another good game. So really, this might be the best 4:00 slate you ever seen. Baltimore at Kansas City, 4:25. And then you have Chicago at Las Vegas. That ain't too shabby. So this may be the best slate of 4:00 games I've seen in quite some time. Then you got Sunday night. You got Micah Parsons return to Dallas. Talking about he won a tribute video. I'm just tired of seeing Dallas, honestly. I don't want to see that fucking game. No CD scam, I don't think. I don't want to see that game, really. I can go to sleep. The Jets and the Dolphins, both 0-3. They're gonna find a way to always put New York teams in primetime slots. You always gonna have Dallas in primetime slots, New York Jets and Giants in primetime. That's three givens right then and there. Regardless of players, you could take Mahomes out of Kansas City, they wouldn't be on primetime TV as much. Brady out of New England, they never probably be on primetime TV as much, even at their pinnacles, but teams, they always gonna find a way to give primetime spots to. Jets, Giants, Dallas, Chicago, in Las Vegas, the Raiders. Them about the 5 teams, maybe the 49ers, you throw them in there too, Pittsburgh. But for sure, New York teams always gonna get in there. I don't want to see the Jets and the Dolphins on Monday night. But shout out to Aaron Glenn. They got 2 Monday night games. My bad. The second Monday night, it ain't too much better. You got Cincinnati at Denver because Joey B went down. So really, the NFL slate really stopped at the 4:00 game. I don't give a fuck about the other 3. But there's some good games this week. Real good games. He said TA will be okay. He has the coaching. We'll see. He might be gone. He might get traded for a pass rusher. I'm joking. Trill City TV must we don't let the Browns beat the Lions because they blackballing Shador. I mean, yeah, he deserved it though. Deion been cooning for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Like I mean, remember he said Riley Cooper. He was justifying Riley Cooper saying the N word. He said everybody should be able to say. So I really don't really care about that cooning shit with Deion and all that shit, man. That pro black shit. Deion been kissing white man's ass his whole life. I ain't trying to hear that shit. So he thought he was up there. He can sit there with the white man. He thought he was equal with the white man in the NFL, and he found out he just another nigga. Sorry, I had to go hardcore right there, but that's just what it is. So when Deion got a long history of buffooning and cooning, bro. I don't think coons deserve pro blackness. That's just my opinion. I ain't saying that you should or shouldn't. But I like Shador Sanders, but Deion thought he was equal to Brad and he wasn't. So he getting what he deserved. I don't feel bad about it. I want to see Shador play. I want to see him be successful, but other than that, man, his daddy fucked us. So Travis Hunter was like, man, get the hell away from him. And shout out to Ace Bailey for firing that fucking clown. That was his agent. The dude his son used to play basketball. The agent that had him lose money and end up in Utah anyway. Could have been fired his ass. The Browns will be the Browns. Browns defense are better not shut defense better not shut down Goff. He could. This man right here, Malik Collins, is a problem. So this is a game where, you don't need Goff to go haywire this game. It's kind of a game where you may not be able to hang your hat on the run game. You might have to have Goff throw you to a victory. And we seen that last week with Jordan Love, and Jordan Love couldn't throw them to a victory. Jordan Love couldn't throw them to a victory, even though they was on the road. He couldn't throw them to a victory. They couldn't run the ball. He was whack. 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 So that's something that need to be looked at. So this is gonna be an interesting game, but it's one of them games where they turn the ball over, they're gonna keep Cleveland in it. It's probably one of those games where Cleveland defense feel like they gotta score a touchdown or put the Browns offense in a position where they gotta score. They can easily score a touchdown. So interesting. We need to help Shador Sanders, man. Yeah, whatever. I mean, he'd be all right. He'd be all right just like everybody else. He'd be all right. Live with, hopefully his daddy learned a fucking valuable lesson. All that cooning he was doing, hopefully he learned a valuable lesson. That's all I got to say. Legitimately, that's all I got to say. Because I remember all that shit he was doing. Even back in the day, all that shit he was doing. Even with Ryan Garcia, after he said that racist shit, he all got Ryan Garcia in Colorado. I don't respect black people like that. I don't respect it. You know what? I don't respect that. But also, if you feel like, that's what you own, that's what you own. I respect you. But no, don't be like you one of us and you proud to be black and you one of us. But then you playing both sides, and that's Deion. He try to play both sides. That's all I'm saying. That's Deion. Is you with us or you with them? And if you with them, I'm not mad at it. I'm not like everybody else. Just be honest. And that's the problem that we got. We got a lot of people in society who are not honest or truthful about who they are. Just tell the truth about who you is, and that's cool. We can rock with it. And we can rock with it, dog. But him sitting here, lying about who he is, man, I don't like that, bro, playing both sides. Go on, be over there with them, and they're cool. But he thought he was equal. He fucked his whole son to shut up. And once again, he should have shut up. He went on the Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce podcast running his fucking mouth. Shut up. You don't see you hurting your kid, bro? Shut up. You a grown ass man. You ain't no chatty patty batty Oprah. Shut the fuck up. Leaking stuff. Well, I think he gonna man. Shut up. That's why his son didn't want him at training camp. Because he talked too fucking much. Just keeping it real. Shut up. Had he just circumvented the draft, from behind the scenes and kept it behind the scenes, probably wouldn't even have had no problem. So he did it to his own son. That's why Travis Hunter was like, oh, no. Travis Hunter was like, nah, I'm good, bro. Deion ain't gonna fuck my money up. The media lied about Dart and the team wanting him. They wanted Jameis Winston. I don't know much about Dart, to be honest. Lions gotta whoop them. They lost to the Packers. Yeah, I think is it like common opponents can if it's a tiebreaker, yeah, you kind of right. Like the Packers still up a game because it's a division win. They got a division win over us. What they schedule looking like? Weak ass Packers. What they schedule looking like? Let's see. They probably did them all types of favors and shit. Hold on, man. I hit the Packers. Why take me back here? There we go. So they off this week? No, they played. Oh, my bad. They played the Cowboys Sunday. The Bengals, the Cardinals. They got an easy schedule. They at Pittsburgh, Carolina, at home versus Philly. Yeah, they got an easy ass schedule. It don't get tough until like. Only thing that's really going in their favor is that they gonna get Minnesota healthy. That's not in their favor. They gonna get Minnesota healthy. Chicago should figure it out by the end. And then it gets tough at the end because, at the end, you got the Broncos, 2 division games for Chicago. You got the Ravens, Minnesota. So, yeah, it kind of gets tough at the end. They don't really have a tough schedule, He said Amon-Ra St. Brown plays both sides. So what's the difference? What you mean plays both sides? What's the difference? What is he said? What did he say? What did he say? He didn't say nothing compared to what Deion said in the past. Come on. What did he say? I've never heard him say that it's okay for a guy like Riley Cooper, justify him saying the N-word. And he said it in a derogatory way. He said it in a malicious way. I've never heard him say that. Are we justifying Deion being a coon? Because that's what he been. And his kids got white. What they got to do with white? And who kids got white in them? That ain't got nothing to do with what I said. They ain't got nothing to do with what I said. And that's the problem with this generation. They like to move the goalposts. Well, back in the day, they did it too. They ain't got nothing to do about him being mixed. This got a lot to do with Deion Cooney. You had a known racist, Ryan Garcia, who's a known racist, who said he hate N-words, that he wished George Floyd died again. And he said all this nasty shit. You go look up what he said. And you had him there hugged up with him. Riley Cooper was saying the N-word in a very malicious way. Matter of fact, man, look here, man. I'll take the copyright. Give me a minute. I'll take the copyright on this video. I promise you I will. Matter of fact, we can do one better than that. Hold on. We can do it better than that. Give me a minute. Hold on. We can do it better than that, homeboy. Hold on. Hold on, homeboy. I don't forget no shit like that. Shit was disgusting. And I don't even want to make this about Shador.
Me is how we as African Americans can say the N-word to one another. We can listen to it in almost every rap song and even distribute it amongst each other in the locker room, on the field, but it's not okay for another race. So who is the racist? I think it evolves to both of us. He said something on.
I'll stop it right there. Did you just hear what he said? He literally called black people racist because Riley Cooper said the N-word. And you justifying that, bro? Like, I'll play it again.
It's not okay for another race. So who is the racist? I think it evolves to both of us.
So I don't even want to make it about this. I'm about to get off. Riley Cooper says the N-word, and I could play that too, but I'm not gonna play it. Right? And somehow black people are racist because Riley Cooper said the N-word. Now you don't care nothing about no off the field type shit. But we gotta support Shedeur Sanders because he's black. Which one is it? Which one is it? Which one is it? I just want to know. Do you care about off the field stuff, or if you don't? Now, if you say, "Oh, I just want to support Shedeur Sanders because I like Colorado or I like Jackson State," okay, cool. But that's not what you're saying. That's not what you're saying. And this is the shit I be talking about. Don't move the goalposts. So he thought he was equal to them, and they showed him he wasn't equal. All that buffooning and cooning he did, and you can go back further than that. That's been what Deion been on. So how do we sit here and say, "Oh man, we got to support them because they black," and they out here cooning? I don't get that. I don't get it. I truly don't understand it. So what's the penalty for all this cooning shit niggas do? I mean, I'm being dead ass serious. What's the penalty for killing your own people? What's the penalty for poisoning your own community? What's the penalty for stereotyping your own people? In the black community, it ain't no penalty. When Gucci disrespected black people say, "I don't care, I'm gonna still buy Gucci." So at the end of the day, either y'all gonna draw the line that y'all gonna be with y'all people, or y'all gonna draw the line where y'all not gonna be black. And I'm cool with either or. It makes me no difference. But don't sit here and y'all care about shit when somebody gets shot in the ass, who was a criminal to begin with, who deserved to get shot in the ass most of the time. And then at the end of the day, y'all don't care about it. So either we're not gonna care about it, we're not gonna talk about it. And you just say, "Okay, I support Shedeur because I support Colorado. I really just like the family." Don't give me that shit. "Oh man, we gotta support them because they black." No, they ain't brothers, man. Every brother ain't a brother. Miss me with that shit. Because that's why everybody feels so comfortable disrespecting the black community, because y'all let anybody come in, say the N-word. People forgot when Kerry Collins said the N-word. That's why he left Carolina. Did he get suspended? Did he get fined? I don't know what the fuck happened, but he was able to go to the Giants to go to the Super Bowl. No. And I asked the question, and I said, what you supporting him for? He got exactly what he deserved. He circumvented the draft. His father thought he was equal. He was not equal to Brad. That's a fact. So no, I don't feel bad for them. Don't matter. The reason he fell in it. All right, answer this question. I'm gonna get off. Why did Shedeur fall in the draft? Why did he fall in the draft? Ask me that question. Why did he fall in the draft? Was he not good enough? Why did Shedeur Sanders fall in the draft? Why didn't he go the first round, the second round, the third round? Why did Jackson Dart go for him? Salt go before him? Why did Dylan Gabriel go? Were they better than him? Were they better than him? And I'm cool with that. No. Why did Shedeur Sanders fall in the draft in your opinion? Why did he go to the fifth round? Don't ask a question with a question. Answer question. Deion said it's not about Shedeur Sanders. I don't care what Deion said. He's a fucking fat-faced liar. Why did Shedeur Sanders fall in the draft? Why did he? Because he pro-black. Shut the front door. It's not why he dropped in the draft. See, this is what I be talking about. Y'all argue like bitches. It's okay to admit that you was wrong. You know how you felt in the draft. Y'all act like bitches, dog. It's okay. If I'm wrong, I'm like, cool, I'm wrong. I'm not a hater. I'm a hater for not wanting to support a coon. Let that go out there. And like I said, I think he should start. I think he can play. But he fell in the draft because his daddy thought he had the juice. He thought he was a white man. He's Steven from Django. And I'm going to stand on it. I ain't betting against him. I ain't hating on him. I'm calling it what it is. I'm calling it what it is. And his daddy needs to shut the fuck up and focus on Colorado getting their ass whooped. That's all I had to say.